Now let's dig down into the depth and see the functioning of each and every layer of the OSI model. So let's start with the physical layer, or let's start with the topmost layer, that is the application layer. Application layer is the seventh layer of the OSI model. This layer provides network services to application processes. Now, what are the application processes? The applications are like email is one application, or file transfer is another application, or if you emulate a terminal, it becomes another application. So in this way, you will be wondering that it never happens that the email content goes to browser, or the browsing doesn't interfere with the email application. Now, how this is happening? Because this is the entire you can say the functioning of the OSI model, and the application to application communication or processes to process communication is taken care in such a manner that no two processes they interfere with each other. So what is the main functioning of the application layer? The application layer gives end user applications access to network resources. So this particular layer, in fact, the end user applications like email or your browser or your FTP, file transfer protocol, which is working, the file transfer is being taken place, the huge files are being transferred from one machine to other machine. So this particular layer gives the access to network resources. Now you would like to locate where this layer is on your machine, on your node. So this is in the workstation or server service in the MS Windows. So you can't separate the functioning of the network with the operating system. So therefore this all goes hand in hand, and therefore you will find that these particular things, they have been taken care even in the operating system. Now the next layer is the data. It deals with the data presentation or data representation. It's called as presentation layer. That is the layer number 6. Now this particular layer, it provides common data formatting between the communicating devices. So it ensures data is readable by the receiving system on one hand. So whatever data transfer is being taken place, it is in bits. But whenever you are reading a file, it's not possible that the file in the bits can be read. So therefore it has to be in the file which is readable, and this particular layer is takes care of all the formatting of the data. So format of data is taken care by presentation layer. Data structures are taken care by the presentation layer. It also negotiates data transfer syntax for the application layer. As I mentioned, that no layer works in isolation, it has to work with the layer above it. So presentation layer works with the application layer for negotiating the data transfer syntax. Okay, so in this way it works with the application layer, and it works down with the session layer. So the components of the presentation layer, they make sure the receiving station can read the transfer data. Reading or the presenting the data in readable format is very important aspect of the data communication. Otherwise everything will be like a garbage. So this particular aspect is taken care by the presentation layer. Then comes the session layer, the fifth layer. Session layer, if you would like to tell me in one or two words what it is doing, it is responsible for inter-host communication between the transmitting host and the receiving host. So that is inter-host communication. So it establishes, manages, and terminates session between the applications. Everything is now, we are talking in terms of applications. Email is one application, or FTP is another application, or if you open a particular browsing window, that is the third application. And you know, today the users have a habit that they open multiple applications on a single node, and these applications, they further correspond to, might be multiple applications on the other node, but all these applications, they talk to each other, and this interhost communication is taken care by the session layer. So again, where you will find this layer on your machine, so it is there on your machine or node in the form of workstation and server service or Windows client for NetWare. So you will find this particular layer, and in brief, this particular layer is taking care of the synchronization of the data communication. Synchronization, where the session starts, where the session ends, where the session commences, where the session is terminated, what's the approximate time based on the channel conditions for data transmission. So entire approximation is taken care by this particular session layer. Then comes the transport layer. Transport layer is the number 4 layer in this hierarchy, and it is responsible for end-to-end connections. So transportation layer, it provides reliable data delivery. So reliability is very, very important. Otherwise, again, there will be like garbage in, garbage out. So this reliability is given, the functionality is given by the transport layer. We'll be very soon study the TCP/IP model, but it is a TCP, that is transmission control protocol, in the TCP/IP model. It receives the information from upper layers and segments sorry, it segments it into packets. So here you can see this particular layer, it receives, every layer in for that matter gets the information from the upper layers and then gives certain functionality to the lower layer. So in the same manner, with the same kind of argument, this particular layer receives the information from upper layer, so that is session layer, and then it segments the data into packets. Why packets? Packets are the small chunks of data, and on networking or network or channel, the data is transferred in packets. The reason being, the packets can be routed through multiple routes, so that if one particular route is busy or congestion is there on that particular route, then alternate route the data can be redirected. That is one thing. Second thing is, by doing so, if the data loss takes place, then the data loss will happen only pertaining to the small chunk of data, not the entire data transmission. So that only that chunk, if it is numbered and if it is located, then only that data chunk can be requested from the transmission machine. So that's the rationale behind why the data is divided into packets. Now transport layer, one more functionality is it provides error detection and correction. So many error detection codes are there, and you must have studied in digital communication. There is something called a syndrome. So with that syndrome, one can estimate or one can approximate where the error lies during the transmission and reception process, because the channel is having so many sources of noise. So that there is lot of possibility that the data corruption takes place or the errors are introduced in the process. So therefore, the error detection and correction is very important operation in the entire process, looking at the noise on the channel, and that is taken care by the transport layer. The network layer, it provides network-wide addressing, right? So as we have seen, addressing and best path, these are the two important functions of the network layer. So many machines, millions of machines or billions of machines, how to locate, because where the data is to be sent, for whom the data is intended. So address is very important. So this addressing part is actually taken care by the network, and not only that, the best path, the path which will lead to, there is a term called as throughput. Throughput means the entire data communication will not only happen in a reliable manner or error-free manner, but with the shortest time it should happen. So that particular aspect is throughput, which is taken care by the network layer. So it provides connectivity and path selection between two end systems. And you must have heard a device, and we will be covered that functioning of the device in next couple of videos, that is called as router. So this router is configured, or the switch which is configured, because you must have heard layer 3 switch. So layer 3 switch is the switch is having the functioning of layer 1, 2 and 3. So all these three functions are merged and then it is called as layer 3 switch. So this takes care of addressing and the best path selection. Now if you consider the TCP/IP protocol, which is the widely used, then IP part comes here. We have seen that TCP part is coming in transport layer, while the IP, Internet Protocol, the part of the TCP/IP is in the, actually it is mapped in the network layer. What are the network addresses? Just now we have seen the conception of addresses. These network addresses are used to transfer data across the subnets. Subnets are the small parts of the nets of the entire network. And router is the device used by routers for packet forwarding. Okay. So where this particular thing, we have seen that this entire model, the OSI model, is a theoretical model. It's just a blueprint of data communication over the network. And the much practical model is the TCP/IP model. So you will find that this IP addressing is there in the TCP/IP software. Even if you open your control panel and if you try to figure out that what is your IP address, you can do so. So you will be convinced that this particular IP is there, address is there for your machine also. The next layer is the data link layer. So this data link layer, it places data and retrieves it from the physical layer and provides error detection capabilities. So this particular layer, it gives access to the media, right? And it provides reliable transfer of data across that media. So that is the main functioning of the data link layer. Now this particular layer, actually it gets the data from the network layer along with the address to where the data is to be, the packet is to be sent, right? And it gives that particular chunk of data to the physical layer, so that which is having the access to the media, so that it can be sent over the media. So in this way, these were the layers so far, and then comes the MAC physical layer. But before that, the data link layer has got two sub layers. One is called as MAC. So MAC is it stands for Media Access Control. It gives data to the NIC. What is NIC? NIC is the network interface card, and it also controls access to the media through a sort of protocol is called as CSMA-CD. CSMA stands for Carrier Sense Multiple Access Collision Detection, because the entire process is collision free. So first of all, the collisions are to be detected, and that is done by using a process called as carrier sense. So whenever a machine is transmitting the data over the channel, first it will try to sense the carrier. If there is a carrier, it will withdraw itself and it will again try after a random amount of time. So that is called as carrier sense. What is multiple access? The same channel is being shared by so many machines, so multiple access. And collision detection. So in this way, if there is data transmission process which is happening over the channel, then the transmission machine will try to withdraw itself for a random amount of time, and then again it will try the same after certain time. So in this manner, it will try to avoid the collisions. And another thing is token passing. That is also functionality of the MAC, Media Access Control. The other part of the data link layer is the logical link layer, so which manages the data link interface, or there is a process called as SAP, Service Access Points. We'll see this in detail. It can detect some transmission errors using a method called as cyclic redundancy check. So this particular method is something like it is based on the division. So if you divide, if you have a key which is dividing a particular the pattern which is transmitted, then if the remainder is 0, then the data transmission happens reliably. If not, then some data bits are corrupted, and that's why it is giving some remainder. And then you can find out on CRC, by using CRC, what is the syndrome and where the actually error lies. So this is the entire thing Of course, we'll see the details